Hey, so our previous task was working on the build up to your problem. So we're still busy with the middle of the story. Remember, I told you it's the biggest part of your story, but now we're going to do the resolution. So, how do we solve the problem? That will be the question. I want you guys to challenge yourselves with writing a wow story. So during today's lesson, we are going to look at the resolution. What is resolution? Resolution is the solving of the problem. So you're going to do your high frequency words, sheet number 11. Once again, words that is related to writing a story. Then we'll do the second part of the middle, from the problem to getting a resolution, a solution, a solve of the problem. And then you will again write on your story mountain planner, and then you will write your resolution. So the middle of the story, we have to solve the problem. How is that going to be done? Okay, so what will happen next? How will the characters solve the problem? Is there going to be somebody else arriving to help? Is there a surprise happening? Or did your main character find some inner strength to solve the problem? Was it maybe perhaps all a dream? Or has the mystery been solved completely, or will the story be continued? In the case of the shoemaker and the elves, the mystery has been solved, but then the shoemaker and his wife goes a bit further. So quickly have a look at these resolutions from very well-known stories. All of a sudden, in rushed the woodcutter. And we all know which story that one is from, right? She bravely asked if she could try putting her foot into the glass slipper. Oh, we know that one too. That's Cinderella, right? Out of the blue, the prince came riding in. That could be a few stories, but I would guess that might be Snow White. Then she arrived back home, but she didn't notice that she had accidentally brought home a strange friend. And then finally, the children stepped back through the old wardrobe and into their room. Let's see if you know which one that one is. So how do we resolve the problem? There's a possibility of having a little twist where your characters now deal with what is left of the main problem or conflict, and he or she realizes a new goal that they have to achieve. So in the case of the shoemaker and the elves, they now have resolved the problem. They realized it was elves making their shoes, and now they realize that there's something else that they need to do, and we all know what that might be. Okay, your resolution is where you'll give the answer to your story's main question. Okay, so you resolve the problem and you bring your story towards a satisfying ending. Let's see how the resolution plays out in our example story. The next day the wife said to the shoemaker, "These little dwarfs have made us rich, and we ought to be thankful to them and do something for them in return. I am quite upset to see them run about as they do. They have nothing to keep off the cold. I'll tell you what, I will make each of them a shirt, a coat, a waistcoat, and a pair of pants. You can make each of them a little pair of shoes." The thought pleased the good shoemaker very much, and one evening, when all things were ready, they laid the newly made tiny clothes on the table instead of the work that they used to cut out, and hid themselves to watch what the little elves would do. So there's a little twist after the problem was solved. After they found out it was little elves making the shoes, now there's a twist where they want to do something back to them. So resolving the problem they saw. Okay, and here is the resolution. Here they solve the problem of these poor, basically naked little elves. Okay, guys, so now you're going to plan your own resolution of your problem. Okay, by now you definitely have your problem already written down. And now in your planner, you will just write down a few words in pencil to think of how you will resolve your problem. And then, of course, you'll also have to do your high frequency sheet, page number 8. And then at that part highlighted in red, that is where you will be writing the next part of your middle, the resolution part. In full sentences, in the past tense, you now write this. And then, of course, go back onto the internet to read a story from there. So, the final part of writing a story, it is now the ending. How do we end our story now? Miss Jackie says there to you, how about sending me your story via email? I would love to read it. If you could do that, if Mom or Dad could scan in your story and send it to me, that would be great. You don't have to, but it's just if you want to. So the ending of the story. The ways that we could end a story is where we always go back and have a look at how your story first started. Look at your first setting. Now think, what has changed since the beginning to the point where you are now, where you're going to end the story? What is different from the beginning? So now you can describe how things have changed for the better. Hopefully. Okay, she never saw her mean, unkind stepmother or stepsisters again. So we know that from Cinderella, where her story started living with them, and now she doesn't have to live with them anymore. Since then, the wolf has never returned. So I would imagine that would be the three little pigs. Okay, so there's a relation between the beginning and the ending of the story. Have any lessons been learned by the characters? The three little pigs never built a house out of straw or sticks again. So clearly they've learned the lesson that that wasn't a smart plan. Little Red Riding Hood always listened to her mother after that. Yes, because she was speaking to strangers, trusting strangers, giving them information that she shouldn't have. So finally, our last task. You're going to write the ending to your story. So a few words in your planner just to get your ideas ready for writing the ending. You will only do that today. Only plan it quickly and then write the ending. You'll see the last sheet is one with a big block and then lines. The block you can use to draw either the middle of the story or the ending of your story. And on page 12 of your worksheet pack, you will see a checklist. I would like you guys to go through the checklist, tick everything that you think your story has, and then ask your parents, mom, dad, or older brother or sister to go through your story and make sure that all the components and the features that needs to be in a story is in your story. Guys, I hope you have fun writing the story. It was wonderful teaching it to you. Goodbye.